Welcome, everybody, both live in the moment and those of you who will be listening to us in the recorded version to Angora Poets World Cafe. I am Mo Seeger. I am a poet and lucky to be the host of this fine array of poets on this October 10th, 2021. And as is the custom of Angora Poets, we are about to present people from different cities and different styles of poetry. And it all works together because those who are invited on Angora Poets are those who are really writing poetry, which is to say those who are not just using it as a hobby, but as a passion, obsession, etc. So welcome to you all to Angora Poets. And I would like to begin our session tonight by calling on a poet, a university professor, poet, and independent publication editor, as I understand now, Mr. Damian Hay. Hello, Damian.
How you doing, Mo?
Okay.
I love reading with you guys. Do a great job. This is called I Claw a Cameo from Life. I claw a cameo from life, stick it like a badge. I scrawl a triolet for death and chuck it to the road. I shout out loud to far-off friends and gamble I'll get there. I gasp in time when time is young and hanging from the stars. I pay no mind to any turn, but drive my spirit raw. I look upon myself at last, my face a battered grin. I crash my body in a ditch without an end in sight. So that's the first one. Thought I'd go positive this week.
Is that, yeah, right? Is that a self-portrait, Damian?
It could be. I don't know. I'll tell you one day. But it's like he's crashed and now he's continuing to walk on afterwards.
Now, what was that line again? I look at myself and then see a battered grin. How did that line go?
Yeah, I look upon myself at last, my face a battered grin. Because presumably, I've passed out of the body. I look down and I see myself. I crash my body in a ditch without an end in sight. It's kind of like Emily Dickinson. I finished knowing that, or I finished knowing then.
Okay. All right. Well, it's a good icebreaker. Can we hear a second one, please?
Yes, sir. This is a Sestina. It's called For Me, Without You, Bliss Goes Blind. For me, without you, bliss goes blind, and air breathes obsolescent light, choked up from when life is rusted out. It seems like there is no more room, fulfillment, gentle blasphemy, and joy, a thing of discontent. Too full of sweet things, discontented in my mind, now double blind to sweetness. Poignant blasphemy, I will not wear your burden light, nor will I fill up the room with icons to your light gone out. I will not let our us be out of sorts. I will not discontent my memory, your spirit's room to falter while our days turn blind, distracted by a sooner light, a whiter point of blasphemy. Yet who can figure blasphemy before that light is smothered out? And I see none to judge our light except ourselves and discontent. I will not see myself as blind, nor make our place an inmate's room. What shall we call our proper room, that place inured to blasphemy, where our first bliss will not go blind, nor obsolescent light choke out, nor spirit bode of discontent and disavow beloved light? What proper prison for our light? What boundaries in this our room? How long before our discontent will speak to us with blasphemy? Will we then show each other out? And will our visions make us blind? Our light has no such blasphemy. Our room, though we be in or out, yet neither discontents nor leaves us blind.
Okay. More will be revealed. More will be revealed. Okay.
And finally, a fun little piece. Three's a charm, right?
Exactly. Three's a charm, Damien.
All right. Well, I hope you're all charmed by this. It's called Octopia, and it's kind of a Cold World sort of poem. A Cold War, I should say, sort of poem. Octopia is nowhere human. The abject horror of an eight-legged dawn descending upon our home from the unfathomable sky is nameless and so distinctly un-American that it has become America itself. This is what happens, we begin to think, as our collective unconsciousness rises from uncharted inner depths of fear and irrationality. When our borders are compromised, when gays are allowed to get married, when Black Lives Matter, when marijuana is legalized, when female sexuality is liberated, and when liberals run rampant in the streets, we become a nation usurped by invasive species. Grab your families, run for the hills, menfolk, get your guns. There's war in them our suburbs. The space octopi are coming. They'll take your towns, they'll take your homes, they'll take your wives. They'll take back Congress and pass gun control legislation. Your children will be born boneless. Do not let this happen to you. And in the final scene, just when we all think we've vanquished that last crypto-alien cephalopod and America is safe and godly and made great again, we approach a lovely young mother sitting on a park bench tending a white bassinet. What a lovely baby, we say, bending over the bassinet, just before a tentacle reaches up and wraps around our pinky. So that's
Okay. Okay. And now that people are worn out with, well, a lot of people are worn out with Trump and have failed to find evidence of the Russians controlling our elections. You know, the last two scare waves, which become very prominent now in pop media, is the aliens, like you were talking about. You know, now people are waiting. The next fear or speculations, what about those aliens? So
the alien
there's
figure
always
is
something,
always
right?
different. Yeah.
There's always something. Yeah.
It's alien and scary.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Damien. That was nice. Now, did we get three out of you? I don't know. Did we get three? Was that three? Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
I
Okay.
asked you if it was a charm.
You're right. And following Martin's advice, 1 and 2 did not equal 3 this time because I had a different concocted mathematical memory. Okay. So now let's go back to Paris here and present somebody here who's been writing fresh work by the week. Bill Strangmeyer. How you doing, Bill?
Hi, Mo.
You're on, babe.
Okay, so this is a quote from a British politician named Wes Streeting, who said, Jeremy Corbyn's Brexit policy led the Labour Party to this defeat. The poem is called Because There's So Little at Stake. It's enough for the word to go out, and you'll see justice is the froth on the lips of the hounds as the game's declared afoot. Will the victim accept? And will any defense be clever enough, be tough? The little agents will sneer, the hyenas growl, and apologists explain the morality of the hunt, but history will still not be kind, for murder will out. And the title of fool, the label of evil, rests in unpaid hands. When the story entire blooms like a rose, who will be right? The hidden smirk no longer a cult, the snub disarmed will all be a part of indictments to come of the close. The enemies of decency will feel right to condemn. The finger pointing out indecency will be theirs, and lies will carry the guilty to ruin along with the rest, as the dimwit exposal of slander pours shit on our minds.
Somebody needs to mute Angoma. Bill, that last line, the dimwits of what was it? Dimwits of slander?
The dimwit exposal of slander pours shit on our minds.
Woo. Okay. Well, we just keep going with this happy themed poems tonight. Give us another one, Judge. Give us another one.
Okay. This is called Over-Explanation of a Misstep. A bright white light straight up and down and noble with a smirk, so agile and so frank, so like a knife edge, blunt and often candid seeming. And the best is this, you know that many others out of dimness shirk the task of spreading change by overdoing rage's gleaming japes. And something now that begs correction, common tropes from out the past. The irony once felt by all of us is sometimes not what we once knew. Some of my best friends are, once would leave us all aghast. And I hate you means I'm jealous, although now I don't even do that. And now I fear that overreach I've sometimes felt well pushed to make. The word so easily taken wrong felt to be an attack, a sneer in advance. But I hear and nurse no breakneck reverie of fools needing a world to fake, needing alternate reality, needing things to change, begging a spot on a dance card. In short, the only reason for the braving of the gap that seemed to gape was overcoming reticence sprung from admiration of a splendid flair for shaping words.
That would be a wrap, right? Okay. Okay.
Well, the person that would understand what that's about isn't here, but I wanted to get it on tape.
Are we allowed to know, or is that confidential?
It's not worth explaining.
Oh, well, I was hoping it'd be worth explaining, Bill.
No.
Okay. Sometimes prudence is best. All right, then. So give us three's a charm, Billy.
Okay, a quote from Dante. Although these people, because they are accursed, will never reach the point of true perfection, they expect to approach it more nearly afterwards. Scale model put into place. True believers cause disgust in others. They win by murder, violence, bad faith. The little details of an oppressive creed will always cause dissent and splinters, as the program brooks no deviation. A principle seems good if a lie, so it isn't betrayed if betrayed. This for me and nothing for you is the age-old tactic of the cannibal priests. Antenora awaits the perverter of worthy goals. The goal is the same from two directions, but the monolith will win in the end because of the betrayals and splinters. And anyway, they're only fighting over the direction of the bigotry they both love. Both their gods hate the middleman, but the technocrats will run the spoils. And this is also played upon a smaller scale. The lowest crime, betrayal, is great and small. It brings down people, parties, peoples, and nations. As above, so here below, and all is one. Sneering, seldom justified, at other thoughts within the search for good serves evil in its ever-hungry erection of hate. I didn't fucking kill your fucking dog, so your snit about a point of view is, as they say, unproductive. And besides, I used to think you were an okay human being. That person isn't, you're muted, Mo. That person isn't here either.
Well, it begs me to ask, has that person been here with us? Is that it?
No.
No.
What happened to them?
What happened to them? Nothing yet.
We're waiting for the crime lab report. Is that right, Bill? Okay. Well, there's another dose of how things go out of order as we might have planned or hoped for them. Such is life. Okay, so now we're gonna go a great distance to the west coast of the United States, to Los Angeles, California, and bring on Jeannie Nakano. Hello, Jeannie.
Okay, hi.
Hi.
Baba, were you supposed to go on next or?
Actually, he was.
Yeah, Baba, I'd love to go next, but I think
No, it was me reading out of order here. I'm writing notes and talking. And Goma, you were number 3, so feel free to go on.
Okay. Yeah, so I was trying to figure out what to do. I keep forgetting what I've done here. And so today was kind of one of them days like, what did you do? And what can you do today? So here we go.
Yeah.
Do it. Just do it, yeah. Hate to break it down to you this way, but no. Basketball is not revolution. And we need to end all confusion and disillusion and find a solution. Cause the sign in the Nike sweatshop in Jakarta says, just do it, while Cisse and Sadisa earn $1.85 a day as you play. Less than the cost of a Nike shoelace, forced labor in your face. Don't this swish swish, give me a star and wish to wish away this poverty. Exploitation is all I see. $11.10 for a 6-day week as we speak. Just trying to keep your family fed, might earn your sneaker upside your head if you're slow. Nike trips up on workers' rights. Forced labor with only 5 hours sleep at night. And don't even think strike or you lose your job, maybe even your life. The Nike commercial says, we let our fear stand in the way of hope. We sit silently when we want to scream, why? Why? Because labor activists have much to fear. Tortured, rape that disappeared might be your plight. If you fight for human rights, like Marcina from East Java, dead bloated body floating in the Delhi River. And don't even think the government will stand up and deliver you from confusion. Hell no. Nike pays well for this collusion, and there's no hope of ever reaching the delusion of a finish line. Meanwhile, here under the stars and bars, Nike CEO named Knight, bankroll higher than a kite, portfolio 4.5 billion, yachts and planes and company trillions. Still a pair of Nikes cost 3 months' salary for workers begging on their knees in Vietnamese. Yeah, I hear y'all wondering, what the hell's it got to do with me and you chilling watching the tube under the blood splattered banner red, white, and blue? Well, Michael Jordan earned $40 million a year just to let Nike use his name. Twice as much as shooting hoops, which incidentally was his only claim to fame. Quietly playing ball because he's got no balls, but Nike pays brothers well not to show and tell. Besides, he's busy space jamming with Bugs Bunny, playing golf, making all that money. And as for Spike, he's got a habit. A $40,000 pair of season tickets to the Knicks, that is. Plus a few million ducats for commercials, so much for rehearsals. Yo, Spike, take a leaf and read about the workers' plight. I ain't got time. I'm trying to get a taxi for my wife. While a 12-year-old takes a 9 to the dome, murdered for his sneakers while trying to get home. One more brother laid to rest, a bullet in his head and chest. Another brother candidate for the penitentiary gate, creating jobs for the redneck prison guards in the joint, y'all get my point. So you can register and vote yo fast as you can, but the robber barons laid a master plan. You know, candidates call them up on the phone, Grand Boulay and Skull and Bone. Those with 33 degrees, keeping people on their knees with old world money and new world disorder. They think they can do anything they please. Watch out for these secret societies, sneakers. Just do it. Hey, do it. Hey. Big Peter.
Okay, all right. Yeah, that was a wake-up call.
Dig
I like,
kind of
and
cross.
Goma, I like the way you just do it. All right.
Great stuff, Angoma. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So once upon a time, back in the day, one of my boys and I, we were having this conversation about like, what's a good poet, you know? So after the conversation, I wrote this poem. I'm gonna try to remember it. It's written like somewhere like around 1996 or 97, but it's called Don't Call Me No Poet, This Ain't No Love Song. See, Mama told me that prayer changes things. So I'm praying for enough steel to keep it real. Because death is the only door out of here, but we be scared to leave our bodies. This body's been kicked around long enough. It wasn't supposed to last forever, and my soul cries out to be free. Besides, the only thing constant is change. So I'm sitting meditating on the one when a Bebo in his boombox scared my spirit guides away. I'm lost in a rat race, trying to buy shit my TV says I need to survive. And I'm searching for freedom, but I can't define it anymore. So I'm on a vision quest, trying to find a way up out of this mess. I'm walking through the park, talking to the trees. They got a protest going on against giving up their lives for cashless. And the Snowmakers Union won't cross the picket line until Santa kicks in with some kickback. So 75 degrees in New York in December. It seemed like the whole damn universe is under attack by the greedy as they plunder the world, exploiting the needy. So I'm rolling 7 ounces deep in mysticism. I meditated till the lights went out, but Con Ed wasn't hearing it. Not even an om could cut the darkness. So I'm burning 7 candles trying to find the light of God inside, but she's busy down at the Salvation Army healing a white kid who got shot with a Tech-9 by a white kid from Oregon. Seemed like faith is raped over charity and everything seems hopeless. So I'm hanging out in poetry circles trying to get the truth, but all I get is soft porn stroking my ego to erection with no satisfaction. Nobody talking nothing well, and I'm, ooh. And I'm praying for Buddha. He's laying face down, spread eagle on the concrete, jacked up by 50 on the corner of 112th Street. And it seemed like the interest on karmic debt is higher than bail, so I guess he'll spend Cashmas in jail. The herb spot's been shut down to improve the quality of life for street corner pharmaceuticals offer death at half the price. While the last legal drug dealers like the local watering hole of the Bronx offers 3-for-1 shots of rot gut, except the poets like me who are banned for using the N-word because the owner is the N-word, but alcoholism kills your liver first. And it's easy to collect from the taxes of the dead, so I scream out other obscenities instead, like poverty and ignorance plus imperialism equals fascism, but justice turns a deaf ear to my fears. So I'm looking for a detox for Jesus addiction. But the offering plate gets in the way because organized religion is big business, but nobody tells the poor as they pay and pray for more salvation from this hell we be living in. So Hail Mary, full of gold, the Vatican's been bought and sold. Hell, we had homes and jobs before you brought us here. My ancestors built pyramids for years before picking cotton. Maybe that's been forgotten. So I'm quoting Haki Matabuti saying, Jesus saves, Jesus saves, Jesus saves green stamps, but green stamps are obsolete and the poor and the homeless beg for food to eat in this land of plenty where not a damn thing is free. So don't call me no poet, because me, I'm just a pissed off brother with a pen.
Ooh, ooh. That's a very righteous comeback on that, isn't it? That one line really landed on me, having once been absolutely involved in religion, you know, following the scripture and the religious classes. So with Hail Mary full of gold, what was that? Hail Mary full of gold?
Yeah, Hail Mary full of gold, the Vatican's been bought and sold.
Yeah, okay. I wouldn't argue with that. Okay, wow. So you're getting ready to go on guitar now, are you? Three's a charm from Angoma Baba.
Okay, just a minute here. My
Sure.
instrument had a little, let's see what I can do. All right. Didn't come on the Mayflower, came on a good ship, Jesus. I'm a star at Matilda, Henrietta Marie, chain bound and shackled, glory till I'm in a castle, copper and manila, and a little tobacco. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. To sing my blues, to sing my blues. On Eagle Landing, try to walk on water. I'm a runaway, I'm a renegade, I'm a son of a dusty daughter. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. To sing my blues, to sing my blues. Dear Mark Beasley in Charleston, many of the Maroons, Nat Turner and John Brown, Harriet Tubman, freedom bound. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid your dues. To sing my blues, to sing my blues. Work from sun up to sundown. Black baby sold by the pound. You ain't paid your dues. You ain't paid dues. You ain't paid your dues. To sing my blues, to sing. Anyway.
All right. Applause, Mita. Okay.
This is a 3-string cigar box guitar.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Do you
Well,
build these instruments?
Huh?
Do you build these instruments that you're playing?
No, I don't build them.
Okay. But, I
And,
love seeing all the stuff that you play though, man.
Thanks.
yeah. And have you've recorded an album length of your work, haven't you?
Yeah, I got about 6.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay. That's great. That's really good. I like the way you went into those minor notes on that three-string
3-string
cigar
guitar.
box. Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounded like some real old school stuff. Really old school play.
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you, Angoma. Wow. For the
Thank you.
musical poetical interlude like that. All right. I want to keep my dues up. I'll tell you after hearing that. I pay my dues as every loyal poet does. I take aimless walks late at night, seemingly in a profound state of mind when I'm just looking for bushes to pee in and something to do with my insomnia. But it looks good. It keeps my dues up with the Poets Union.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Ngoma. And now we will cross the continent and go to Los Angeles and bring on Jeannie Nakano. How are you, Jeannie Nakano?
I'm good.
Okay.
So I've been writing about rain because it started raining here. We've been in a big, big, big drought. And I just wrote this one this morning, so I don't have a title for it. Rain, rain, cascading memories when we were new and conquered all. What happened to that day when rain began to fall? No, it wasn't really her or the other or the next. I hated all the bitches and the lies you had to make. Always looking for that high. Never let your feet touch ground, always flying by. You cried and wouldn't talk. You couldn't tell me why. It's simple, you once said, until the rain turned into snow. Shall we blame it on your mother? I loved her just the same. Her life was filled with laughter, music, gin, and tonic. Those moments of bliss, the kiss of alcohol. Reborn, she quotes the Bible, but Jesus talked too loud. Another path, but not her own. I lose you both in a quest for absolutes. Rain, rain, I wonder where you are now. Rumors are you live on the streets. Rumors are that you moved back east. Rumors are you are dead. I let it go, the child we had and lost. I don't dream of you anymore. Does that mean you're free? Motionless, I pray for you, the kindness in your eyes and touch. I know you meant to be all things and everything. Rain, rain, rain. So many of us try.
Wow. Wow. Thank you, Jeannie. Oh,
Yeah, I got a chorus on that one.
okay. Okay. So eagerly ready for number 2, Jeannie.
Okay, I'll try to find a happier one. Okay,
It's your call.
this is First Rain. Raindrops, embryos of life flowing from the sky, implanting into Earth's womb. Earth is ecstatic today. Twins bounce, triplets play, quadruplets march in 4/4 time, faster and faster until we cannot count the meter. Oh, heaven and earth unite today. Marry and penetrate your seed deep inside Earth's womb. She's been waiting far too long, desperately yearning for your touch. Please don't stop. Be relentless. Rain on and on, rain on. For days and nights and weeks, for many, many moons, flow deep into the valleys and mount the highest peak. Implant every crevice, moisture from above, glistening over Earth's brown skin. Oh, the after smell of rich, wet earth. Rain, oh rain, come again, and again, and again, and again.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeannie. Boy, since you changed your style of poetry, um, it's just compelling to listen to you in your new style.
Oh, good. I was going to read some haiku, but now I won't.
Well, whatever you read, free is a charm, Jeannie. And
Okay.
you're welcome to do a third one, please.
This one's called Turn the Page. People dying every day. Down. There's just too many people. Bowl them over, strike, and don't leave a spare. A dismal thought leaving us to rot. How to fix it? Are we too late? Open the gate and send them to Mars. No thanks. I'll stay here, lying on dry grass. Summer fires about to spread. Then everything turns to blistering red. I still stay here. I live near the beach. The breeze is undone. Hummingbirds in my backyard, like my sugar water. They keep coming and humming. I'll be selfish and keep on living. Driving in the front seat, fear riding in the back seat. Things will come around, a carousel of sorts. Hug seasons on the table. Choose what you please. Pass on no regrets. The clock strikes 3. Bamboo chimes shoot the breeze. It's making too much noise. To all my friends, more than a dozen who left me behind this year, you were stronger, younger, taller than I. Why did you have to go? Why did you have to die? Is it really a better place? No one ever answers me. My breath rises and drops, shallow and short. It gets lonely and scary hanging here. Give me ambient light, candles on my coffin, sunshine in my hair. Let the wind wipe tears away. It's a mystery, a puzzle, this long book I'm reading, and I don't want to turn the page.
Oh, yes, okay. Okay. Very, very nice, Jeannie. Thank you very, very much. Glad to hear you in your new form, as I said before. Come out of there blistering with some of those lines. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot more free.
Mm-hmm.
Can I
And
ask,
please.
I had the sound dropped out at the beginning for about 2 seconds. Did anybody have that at the very beginning? No, it must have been a problem on my end. Hopefully it won't affect the recording. It might be affecting the recording though.
The last poem that I wrote, you mean?
The
Or
last
whole-
poem, at the very beginning of the last poem, you read one line and then one line was missing and then it came back.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
I could read the first 2 lines.
If you wouldn't mind reading the beginning again, I'd love to hear that.
Okay, sure.
Maybe more than 2. I don't know if it was exactly, where the lines were.
So it's called Turn the Page. People dying every day. It's Mother Nature's way to scale down, they say. There's just too many people. Bowl them over, strike, and don't leave a spare.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
what they say here. I mean, all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff is going around for COVID. It's
Yeah,
wonderful.
I understand. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I guess it's my
Yes, it is, Martin. And I suppose you're watching on screen in case anybody wishes to enter, as they say, enter the room.
Yeah, I haven't seen any
Okay.
requests. I assume
All
there
right.
would be a request, I would see. So,
Well, anyway, let us present Martin Resick here, who is going to contribute to us. He's going to lead the field of mathematical scientific inquiry for poetry. That's a nice leap, and we're glad to have him here. Hello, Martin.
hello. I think I'm going to read one. This is sort of based on a conversation with my wife a while ago, and maybe it's a kind of comment on some of the poems we've heard. It doesn't have a title. It starts with a question. Why Beckett and Bergman, those purveyors of despair? I searched the glimmering horizon for an answer as slipper shells tide heaped to the rack line rattle under our hesitant feet. The water is almost still. In part, it's awe at the sheer mastery of their art, the sense that every word and frame is precisely cut. You stop, perhaps annoyed, as you squint into the sun. It's not enough their dreariness is exquisitely done. As well, I am comforted that despite their bleakness, they don't succumb, but can go on from darkness begetting light by the act of creation itself. The final words are yours, my love. It's not enough.
Okay. All right. Has she, as the person you refer to as my love, has she listened to that piece?
I think so, a while ago, yeah.
Okay.
It's an
Good.
old one.
All right.
This one is based, based on an old joke. It's a villanelle.
Oh, a villanelle.
Yeah. And I hope you all recognize the joke. I also don't have a title for it at this point. Stop me if you heard this one before. The joke about the travelers on the train. I wouldn't want to be a tiresome bore. When Bobby grinned and called out "number 4," and Rudy groaned as if he were in pain and told him, "Stop, I've heard that one before." Poor Sammy listened, staring at the floor. What was this game whose rules were so inane? He didn't want to be a tiresome bore, but then he couldn't stand it anymore and blurted out, 6,000. Now explain. They roared. They hadn't heard that one before. So 1 is love and 2 is death, the core of all we write imprinted in the brain. But trying not to be a tiresome bore, I juggle words, odd colors, obscure lore, a gesture desperate to entertain, repeating jokes we all have heard before, pretending that I'm not a tiresome bore.
Well, with sentiments like that, I think you have no fear about being a tiresome bore. All right. So how about delighting us with Freeze a Charm, Martin?
So far there hasn't been anything about the World Cafe, so I just recently participated in a little informal translation contest. We were given a specific poem. It's in French. Unfortunately, we don't have a French native here to read it. It's in medieval French, of all things. It's by
What about, okay, just a second.
Yeah.
Bill teaches language.
Do you want to read it? I was going to try to read it with my bad pronunciation, but since it's medieval French, the pronunciation is presumably even more distorted. Bill, do you know medieval French?
Not especially, but my pronunciation isn't too bad.
Okay.
So you wrote this, Martin, or some
I
medieval?
wrote the translation. Okay.
Oh, I see.
It was a winning entry in a translation contest for this medieval French poem.
Well,
Did you
let's
win?
go with that, Martin, and do your best at pronunciation. And with your translation, maybe you could do the translation first,
Okay.
so we have an idea of what you're going for.
Okay. So it's a rondel, which is a specific old French form. And it goes, the art of alchemy alone can transmute hardened falsity and make it precious loyalty, for malice is set deep in stone. Your head will ache until you moan, it's nothing but futility. The art of alchemy alone can transmute hardened falsity. You study more, but all that's known is more and more uncertainty. What makes virtue from knavery? 2 things that are so contrary, the art of alchemy alone. And the original, let's see if I can, yeah, the original is il faudra faire l'alchimie que voudra forger fausseté, ton cœur devint loyauté, quand en malice est endurci. C'est rompre sa tête en folie et ton perdre en osseté, il faudra faire l'alchimie qu'il voudra forger fausseté. Plus avant qu'on y étudiait, et moi y connais un certain, car de faire de mal bonté l'un à l'autre est trop contraire. il faudra faire l'alchimie. Sorry
Okay.
about my horrible pronunciation.
Ah, merci quand même. Hey, I've heard worse pronunciations, trust me. Those of us who live in Paris would have heard much worse pronunciation.
Especially since it's, I'm trying to guess what the medieval French pronunciation is. A lot of these words are different in modern French. Like, for example, alchemy is spelled with an R in medieval French. Alchemy, not.
Oh,
Also, I don't know exactly, in French poetry, old French poetry, there were conventions about pronouncing vowels which are different from spoken poetry, from spoken French.
Yeah, they would, I believe the vowels would all be pronounced.
So would it be archimier?
Alchimie, maybe.
Well, it's with a Q though. With the Q.
Okay. Alchimie. Yeah.
Archimier.
I'm not sure. I believe so. But I'm not sure.
well, I'm a little puzzled about that, Martin.
Mhm.
Your version, a rendition of a medieval French poem, sounds like could have been written originally by a contemporary poet today. The sentiment that ran through your version.
Mhm. Well, that's why it was interesting to do.
Yeah, okay. I didn't expect it to sound like, even in English, that it could have been written in contemporary form of expression. And it certainly sounds like if you'd have said something I wrote last week, people would have said, okay, right? There was not the version of thee, thou.
And you could have said it was originally written by, I don't know, Don Quixote.
Found in David Bowie's memoirs.
When did French stop being the court language of the English court? Was that around the 1400s?
No, later than that. Oh, in the English court.
Yeah.
I don't
I
know.
believe
was-
good King John had a hand in it because he lost all of the English lands in France. But it would have been later than that. But that was when English began to come up as a more common language in England.
Yeah, and when the Normans.
What was the court language at the time of Chaucer, for example?
Anglo-Saxon, Old English.
Yeah.
So that was after, the Norman conquest, the French came with the Norman conquest, right? So
The Normans came.
A kind of
Yeah.
French. A kind of French.
Norman French, right? That's right.
For example, war. The word war comes from guerre
right.
because of the Viking pronunciation of guerre.
Guerrilla warfare, right?
Right, that, I would guess that guerrilla comes through Spanish. Huh?
Well, Guernica. Same root, right?
No.
Guernica is not the same. Guerre is not the same root as war in
No.
French.
Guernica? No, it's a town. No, guerre is war in French.
As in c'est la.
En español.
La guerre, yeah.
C'est la guerre.
And the
Yeah.
Vikings pronounced it something like I suppose. So it
That's
became
cheese.
war in English.
Okay. Okay.
Gruyere.
Here we are giving it our best without a native francophone on screen here.
Became
We're
Gruyere.
trying, francophones. We're trying.
It became Gruyere in American. Gruyere cheese.
And war became benevolent intervention. We changed that word. We're going over to Fritos, people.
That's nacho cheese.
Okay. Well, I think it's thank you, Martin. Appreciate that.
Okay.
Good to see that you're getting involved in that. Now it's falling on me to be next. So I'm gonna read a poem by somebody I've been paying attention to again, a New Yorker who instituted in the 60s poem a day, was it? John Giorno, where in New York in the 60s you could dial a phone number, old school telephone, someone would pick up on the other end and you could request a poem. And that poem would go on being published or something like that. And it was called the Dollar Poem, and it became very, very popular. And people by the thousands used to try to get in on the phone line when it opened up. And it was all created by this guy named John Giorno, who himself doesn't get a whole lot of credit as a writer. And so tonight I would like to read one of his poems to credit John Giorno. And anyway, this is called Everyone Gets Lighter by John Giorno. Life is lots of presents, and every single day you get a big bunch of gifts under a sparkling pine tree, hung with countless balls of colored lights, piles of presents wrapped in fancy paper, the red box with the green ribbon, and the green box with the red ribbon, and the blue one with silver, and the white one with gold. It's not what happens, it's how you handle it. You are in a water bubble human body on a private jet in seemingly a God world, a glass of champagne and a certain luminosity and emptiness, skin of air, a flat sea of white clouds below, and the vast dome of blue sky above. And your mind is an iron nail in between. It's not what happens, it's how you handle it. Dead cat bounce, catch the falling knife after endless shadow boxing in your sleep, fighting in your dreams and knocking yourself out. You realize everything is empty and appears as miraculous display. All are in nature, the play of emptiness and clarity. Everyone gets lighter. Everyone gets lighter. Everyone gets lighter. Everyone gets lighter. Everyone is light. That's John Giorno. Okay, homage to him. Now, and since we were talking a little bit about jazz again, here's a quick one called Slipping Out of L7. And that was an old beat term they probably learned from black jazz musicians. When you put an L, Martin, Russick, when you put an L and a 7 together, what do you get? You get a square, baby, just a square. That was beat code for saying he's L7. We got to get out of here. And it goes, at 3 years old, I chose to rise, turned the handle on a door, a corner on a block, and I walked to the world. I looked at life. I had been preoccupied by trains, boats, cars, planes, designs, dreams, plans, maps stamped on soles of my 2 shoes. How to, where go, it's about doing it, dang. For 30 and 3 and so much more, I have stepped the rhythmic ticks of time, though not a tune I label mine. My tune borrowed, broke, and blue. Ha! Today I put a hold on, big round face of a majestic clock, gaze upon it and ponder my time and my tune, finally to admit, I don't know the yin and yang of it. Big round clock chimes, take 5 and then some. The mainspring, the main thing you dig for. Internal, simple, a clean baseline. I smile, calm, quiet, like a man sprung on parole. I'm not doing time, just taking time. Not doing time, about taking time. Not doing time, just taking my time. So shooby-doo-doo, bye-bye. Okay, and since we were talking about people passing in our lives, it reminded me to read a poem dedicated to my major mentor, who came from Brighton Beach, Brooklyn, named Sidney Miller. He was a modest working class window dresser who became a poet at 42 years old and got to be very popular and noted around New York City area. Sidney Miller and his gorgeous wife, Sylvia. Sidney from Brooklyn, Sylvia from the Bronx. It's called She and He. He offered partnership and uncertain future. She paused and gripped his hand softly. A pact thusly consumed in anticipation. Life, after all, begins now. To get there, he figured he must cut a wide path. She realized her own needs in narrow spaces, deeper than his. He ebbed a large web in search of what good men search for, a current bound for a splendid beach, charted clearly on his map of dreams. After so much work spent on work, he declared a dawning of wisdom. She had blessed him long before, in the height of all his folly. Virtue, she understood, comes with being. Like his fathers before, he took his leave, lamenting dreamscapes untrod. She, reminding him of the courageous, beautiful journey, offered her hand as an oar through the final passage. Alone, the half that stays behind, she, caressing shadows across a chair, a table, smell of him on the bed, on a pillow, recalling his touch to her shoulder in the bath. Tending a garden field of memories, she calls for him, singing among the rose, finding him the first tulip of spring. She then descends into the soil, craving as she digs deeply down inside. Okay. Thank you. Dedicated to Sidney Miller and his beautiful wife, Sylvia. Okay. All right. Well, that takes us through the first round, and that's been a nice first round. So why don't we take a brief break, talk to one another about any questions we had about this reading or anything you wish.
I'll pause recording.
At this juncture, people, you're about to hear the second round of Angora Poets World Cafe, where our poets render two pieces through this second round. And I have the pleasure of calling in the same order once again, beginning with Mr. Damian Hay from Long Island. Damian, you're on.
How you doing? All right, so this one, Martin, you inspired me kind of in reverse. So I dug this one up, and this is about mineralogy. All right, so it's called When the Nickel Drops, Ode to a Mineralogy Professor. He tells us his big payoff is, quote, seeing the nickel start to drop, about the symmetry elements, and how we start to know that we need, quote, a quantitative way to refer to the directions of symmetry elements and crystal faces, unquote. I love the beauty of a man in love with symmetry and blocks and minerals, and in love with teaching us to be in love with symmetry and blocks and minerals. He wants me to draw my block and show the location of symmetry elements. He wants me to see how difficult it is, even for straightforward blocks. It's about the only thing I do see, except for lots of other students coming out of today's class, brimming with enthusiasm, which I'll bet he himself hasn't seen too often. I'm not quite there yet. But that's okay, he tells me. I will see the nickel drop as well. I believe him, despite myself. And there are my dogs in the back. So that's the first one.
Okay. Thank you for the dogs to come in on the chorus. That was very nice.
Man, they're dogging me. All right, so I have another one. It's should round me out here. It's called And Now As I Remember You. And now when you visit, the air smells cobalt blue, dappled in gold, with flecks of green about the edges of the room. You speak to me, and I hear Socrates with its taste of burnt biscuits and a hint of red. You feel like Little League summers bruised with blackberries, pinched by the wooded path in back. Your tongue has the classical taste of a string quartet with long black gowns and pearls. And now, as I remember you, everything returns me to long ago thoughts of sauteed garlic and butter wafting through that street fair in Brooklyn where we met.
Okay. Happiness is a
Nice.
residential meetup at a street fair in Brooklyn. All right. Okay. I think, do you owe us number 2, Damien?
No.
No.
Go
They go
on
so
and on.
fast. They go so fast. These 2 rounds. Uh-oh.
What did we do?
Uh-oh. I think we just got an answer. That's either a tugboat or a didgeridoo.
Or you track us.
So, okay, so now we're going to move to back here to Paris and bring on again Bill Strangmeyer. Okay, Bill.
Okay, Mo. This is called In Trouble with Hate and with Love to a Young Girl. If indeed God is love, will love do the trick, and is doing the trick indeed love? What's there so great about being a chick when the hormones come in droves? With all of my doubts about God and his word, how true will the words I find sound? What is the help that thin hope can afford, and what manufactures our wounds? I remember the anger, the rage to be right. I remember the faults of the old, the treason they did me by stealing my night, their failure to love what they told. Now, are the young stupid? Can we say they are mad? It's good when they're happy and light. They ignore all the pain that we've caused and we've had and refuse to deserve their plight. Oh, how can I help her? Oh, how can I dance the dance of the major key mind? How can I waken her out from her trance? How can I laugh and be kind?
Ooh, okay. All right.
I ended up doing nothing after all. She was just a student.
Oh, maybe that was a wise move in the
I
end.
think so.
Okay. Number 2, Bill.
Okay, a quote from Michael Collins, an astronaut in the Smithsonian magazine, which I've altered just a little bit. I try to stop, but momentum peels my hands right off the agenda. I am turning lazy cartwheels above and off to the left of everything that matters. This is called Reconciliations. Guest at a mystery, I watched the mirror child in a small house. I, and then missed and precision, knew her straight and would have without the warning clue of her silence by the sudden quiet from the inner Faust. Rebuild, rebuild. Life and the world are here. The glamour of fools recoils, hidden, not solid. Who would plead the dark as we all did? Time cools, time warms, ambition would have me clear. Narrowly I spread my tarot of hopes and facts. Bias and glory compete for light and air, and secretly I've heard a small bright lullaby cheering the love that needs love and perforce lacks tact. For here the vast wild is being tamed by the small and fair, while I measure the thread I seek with dreamlit eye.
Ooh, okay. All right. With dreamlit eye. That's very nice.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so well, now we're getting up. We're ready to go stateside again, back to New York, and ask for Angoma to come on board.
Aha, there we go. New Millennium Dream. I snort wheatgrass juice for breakfast and open my third eye to the Most High, telling me not to use my stomach as a cemetery for dead animals. A party with 40s of ginger, carrots makes my tantric love last. I smoke blunts of poetry, shifts my paradigm, helps me rhyme on time, in time. If there is time, I question it, but then I question everything. It's this telepathy, perhaps you've heard of me. I communicate with trees, they tell me gossip. Their roots run deep to the center of the universe. I open chakras too. I use my didgeridoo for cultural healing when I play for you. These similes and metaphors open the doors to your mind that was shut. That's why we're in such a rut, but I channel knowledge from the kingdom of King Tut. I was a citizen of Atlantis in a past life. That's why I swim through this illusion that you think of as life, this one of pain and strife, where you'll be in prison for eternity until your mind breaks free and you can really see things can change when you question authority, like the elimination of reincarnation in 325 AD. I have no use for a compass. I read the earth's blueprint. Don't believe in owning land or paying landlord's rent. I always give praise to the 7 directions. I know that the soul's an act of perfection. We're all made in the image of God, but God has no body. So I study the travel of the soul. It never grows old, at least not the way that you think of as old. The soul is eternal, never ending. The kingdom of heaven is within. There are spirits seen and unseen, spirits known and unknown, singing life is full of riddles that only the dead can answer. If you listen, you can hear them in the echoes of the wind, the chanting siren sounds from the place that time began. There goes that word again. I believe in all things as opposed to those who believe in nothing. I am the center of the crossroads that all souls travel through, a traverse point in the cosmos protected. I live in all worlds, exist in all things. Place your palms to mine, retrieve your memory. There's a TV screen in the third eye, viewing the Akashic records from the Most High. Trace your roots and return to the light at Tapu.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see, give me a second. Sorry.
Yes, take a second.
29, 29, 29, track 43.
Wow.
Music is my essence. It started with the rhythm of the downstroke, the yin and yang of love, creation of heartbeat in the womb, first smack on the bottom, the dissonant melody of my first note, the song of my cry. Gospel music harmony was my ear training, bass line tattooed on my umbilical cord, wiggling my toes to the backbeat. Music lessons on my mother's knee, she was the Sunday school pianist. 7 was the magic number, captured by the riddle of the fiddle, it was my first string thing. Music notation became a second language. In 6th grade, a flute joined the family, followed by a keyboard and a cello. High school brought my baritone horn to the marching band. Civil rights sit-ins and anti-war love-ins birthed the age of folk music, but freedom songs brought me a guitar, mentored by Odetta, whom I later met, and Nina vicariously. Bob Dylan and John Lennon in rotation on my turntable. Doo-wop on the corner in basement quarter parties. Jazz came late at night, caressing my eardrums. In defiance of my size, finally large enough to rock an upright bass, riding the A train to a night in Tunisia. Then came serious business, serious music for serious times, just two voices and the guitar. From Central Park to Madison Square Garden, London, Germany, and Paris, our songs embrace the earth. Kissed by New Age music, surrendering to the Yadaki's healing sound. Didgeridoo is a misnomer like jigaboo. African rhythms took me on the journey. Kungas, shekere, mini bata drum. Mali to Memphis, Benin to Brooklyn, deep South African banjo strum. My music teacher told me it's the music that keeps us young. Music is my essence.
All right. Where it's at, let's hear some scat. Okay, that was nice.
That's so, thank you.
Thank you, Angora. You reflect a term, an acronym that got popular, at least got popular about a year ago. I think you might know it, Angoma. It's the acronym is MOBE. And it describes the influence of the music upon the world, no matter who plays it. And MOBE means music of the Black experience. MOBE.
Yeah.
And rather than doing dividing lines and who's authentic and who ain't, somebody came up with MOBE. It's simply music of the Black experience that evolved and morphed around the planet.
Right. Okay.
That's MOBE. Okay. Yeah. Well, you just did the same. You just did it yourself, crossing continents and cultures.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. It's nice to hear all the. What have you included? You've included 6 instruments and a rhythm section tonight. Do you realize that? 6 instruments. You're a one-man band.
Indeed.
Okay.
Work them ahead of time and then do the live with it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
No.
I created it right then.
Yeah, you write a loop, right? Something that
Yeah. I just played over. I loop stuff. The first piece I just loop stuff. The second piece I played over a track. I looped.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
That was
the track
so
was
nice.
looped, and then I just played solo over it. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
was it sort of improv, or do you know what I mean? Are you doing
I
it
do
just?
both.
Mhm.
How many tracks can you do on that? How
How
many
many?
does your machine do?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I've done.
You could also mix them both
I've done-
together and get like
I've
3
done
on
6.
one.
I've done 6, but you could probably do more, but it'd just be too
Sure.
full.
No, I'm just asking about the capability of it.
Yeah, but the capability is endless.
So that's
I love
6.
things.
Yeah, the capability of how many tracks you could do with it.
Yeah. You can track.
That you can layer is endless.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, before the layering, you have 6, and then you could add the 3 onto the 1 onto the 5.
You start with 0 and you just keep adding.
I got you.
I've done like 6, but after 3 or 4, it's just too noisy.
Yeah. Then it becomes, to put it mildly, just a cacophony.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which was much like what the French did when they got into the free jazz movement in the 90s here. They would play the music. I went out to see it, very curious to hear free jazz in Paris, because I had been a fan in New York, free jazz, the revival of it. And in Paris, what they did simply was they would do a piece with 3 or 4 musicians, and there was no anchor to the piece. You see the way you looped it, there's an anchor going through it as you layer on top of it. And you know, leave the count, leave the syncopation and come back. It works because there's an anchor. What the French did simply was they had no anchor, and they would just blurt out with a horn or a string instrument that had no relationship at all to what preceded it. So I soon stopped going to French free jazz ensembles
They didn't
because
understand.
Yeah.
They didn't understand.
because it was similar to their poetry at that time, which would garner the response, "What were you getting at in this poem?" And the poet would say, "It's only known to me." And I would go,
Why don't you keep it
"Okay,
to yourself, right?
grab some cheese, grab some olives, and get the hell out of here."
How many
You know,
separate
it's-
do on this?
Huh?
How many separate loops can you do on your?
Like I say, I don't know. Haven't done them all. You can just keep going over and over and over.
I got that, but before that, never mind.
Well, let's move on to Jeannie. Let's move on. She's patiently waiting for her turn, and we are anxiously waiting to hear her. Jeannie, come on board, please.
And it's two, right? Two now.
Please. Yeah, two.
So this is from a book that I wrote years ago, but it's really cool because I worked it with an artist, and it was a coloring book, and I would write only 3 tanka, and he wrote I'm sorry you can't see it, but he's just a great guy and a great illustrator, but you can't, sorry. Anyway, that's a nice tease.
Okay.
So there are 3 tanka, and the first one is August Moon. Standing under an August moon, no pockets in my flimsy flower dress. My hands have no home. Heat rises up my dress, nothing's underneath. A breeze whispers, I can't help but blush. Plumeria scented breeze, bring down a moonbeam, this night perfect for romance, yet I am here all alone.
Know that feeling. Boy, do I know that feeling. Thank you.
Really, huh?
Now, may I ask you, was that 3 tonkas? Because that
Yeah,
was
that was-
longer than the normal tonka, yes.
Well, you get a lot to say in a tanka because it's 31 sounds. 5
Yeah, okay.
lines.
And so that last piece you rendered, is that 1 tonka or more than 1?
3. There,
That was 3.
it's a triptych. Yeah, the whole book was just, each one was just 3 tanka or a triptych.
Okay.
And it was, and then I used to write in a newspaper. They were really nice because it was called Tonka Tales, and there were just 3 little tonkas, and I did that for a long time. Well,
Mhm.
I consider 2 years a long time in newspaper time.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that could count as 1 piece, as it flew by rather quickly. Do you have a second piece?
Yes, this one is called Morning News, and there's a beautiful picture by Hokusai of an eagle looking down at the world. And yeah, we included some other things besides Alvin's drawings. This is called Morning News. Wrap your wings around this cold world, sweet hawk of sky. You see the rivers below, the fish are running scarce. My heart is in suspension, a satellite orbiting around a troubled earth. Monday morning news, whale's belly filled with styrofoam. This plastic wrapped world takes my friends away. An ocean fills with tears.
Ooh, okay. Thank you, Jeannie. Thank you. Wow. Okay. Well, keep up the good work.
Well, that's really old, but
Well, it can still be good.
not anymore. I'm changing to free verse.
Okay. I like to add that if we're writing well, and you certainly do, calling something an old work should not diminish its value or meaning, because like an old blues song or an old Beatles song or something, they resound with quality and value, even though they're quote old.
That's true. You know, the first rain that I wrote about the rain, that was written in 1993.
Hmm.
Yeah. So I started off with free verse, not knowing what I was doing. And then I got into the Tonka haiku societies and got really tight and learned a lot of rules, and then broke out of it into what I'm doing now. So it's an interesting path.
Yes, it is. Okay, well, thank you. Certainly interesting for us. Appreciate it very much. All right. And so now we'll move over now to the other side of the continent again and bring back on our host of the evening tonight, Martin. Hello, Martin.
Hello, hello. So I don't know quite what I'm going to trying to decide, but I think I'll start with, this is called On Hearing the Plastic People. And the Plastic People of the Universe was an underground rock band in Czechoslovakia, which was very heavily suppressed by the government. They were imprisoned, even though they weren't political. They were just imprisoned for making loud, unconventional music. And
With the Soviets used to call bourgeois music, right?
yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And yeah, they were influenced by Zappa and Velvet Underground and
Yeah,
like that.
because to my knowledge, it was Frank Zappa who came out in the late 60s with a song and a concept called Plastic People.
Mhm.
Absolutely free.
So, okay, Martin, let's hear it.
So this is called On Hearing the Plastic People. A tourist in the plastic universe, I gawk at raw rhythms, growling voices, the screeching passion to make new noises their own, collisions of mad-bearded stars. I was born in that muffled there and then of frightened glances around the corner. Had I stayed, not become a foreigner, would I be one of those wild, shaggy men? Had my mother not leaped into the sea and carried me to gaze at glass flowers in vast halls where I wandered for hours, would I have been part of that history? I know the words, but not this wounded sound. I board a new ship full of cats, singers, news clips, where past meets present and lingers, and time travel back to this underground.
Okay. Here we go. I can see my screen again. All right. So what would you like to follow that with?
And maybe I'll do this one. So this has a physics connection. Ludwig Boltzmann was a great Austrian physicist who invented the notion of what's called statistical mechanics nowadays. And there were fierce debates about it, and he was completely right, but at the time it was strongly resisted. And he ended up killing himself in Duino in September 5th, 1906. And so this is called September Elegy. And the subtitle is Ludwig Boltzmann died September 5th, 1906, Duino. Chestnuts are falling on Strudelhofstiege, castanets, rattling like Saint-Saëns skeletons. Children have filled the mouth of the bronze carp head with empty husks, and damp leaves mat the streets above and below the stairs that I climb, up to where I trudge through puddles and squalls of autumn rain. A gust blows across the corner of Boltzmanngasse. Oh, Ludwig, at the beginning of your street, or is it the end, white letters on a small blue tablet announce Professor Philosoph, a postscript by the pedestal with a bust of someone else. Was it that? Did you foresee that in September in Duino? Years ago, I visited my Aunt Frida there. When did you move to Italy? I asked. I did not move. Italy moved to me. On a wet step, a last green katydid nestles in an empty half shell. I gather the fallen chestnuts and line them up on the stone railing for any passing child.
Wow. Okay. Yes, thank you, Martin. And what your elegy to this scientist, was he a physicist, a mathematician? What was his?
He was a physicist. He was responsible for our modern understanding of thermal physics.
Wow. Okay.
Have you sent that out
Thermodynamic.
anywhere?
Pardon?
Have you sent that out anywhere?
I have, but it's been rejected a couple times.
No.
Is
There are
that
other opportunities.
Yeah, I've been very bad about sending things out. So
I'm not going to just say right out loud, but there are other opportunities out there for you to.
is that a hint about your publication, Damien? Is that a hint?
I like that poem especially.
Martin, there you go, baby. I like that poem too very well. Thank you. And
by the way,
he's
the
not-
story with my aunt is true. I mean, wasn't my direct aunt. She was some vague, complicated relation, but that event happened. I visited her in Dueno, and I asked her, when did you move to Italy? And she looked at me and said, I didn't move to Italy. Italy moved to me. She, the borders have shifted there many times. She had been there since Habsburg times.
Okay. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, well, now it lands on me to read as the final reader in this session. And so because we talked about dogs tonight, and Jeannie actually walked her dog into view tonight, and I have a dog whose head is resting on my thigh, as Bertha does when I do these Zoom readings. Bertha just chills right out. And I do believe, without any scientific proof, that Bertha relaxes to the atmosphere, the ambiance of how we come across as poet readers and various artist renditions, like the music and the song. Because Bertha's been lying gently against me since I first started this Zoom. So in homage to the dog, because every
It
dog
may have something to do with your voice too, Mo.
well, I think everybody, the
The deep, resonant sounds that put your dog to sleep.
Okay. And she snores sometimes, and I have to mute so that her snoring doesn't come across while you are performing. Okay. So the topic that got me was dogs, and these two dog poems are about Doobie, my French bulldog that I had some 12 years ago. Doobie Doo was his full name, this French bulldog. This is called Dead Dog. I walk the dog. He shits at the phone booth. I step over. I call anyway. You are angry, always angry. I try to talk, and words mean little on Monday nights. I know, but a song is hard to come by. You tell me my time has run out. A bus screeches to a halt. A shrill yelp pierces the air and passes through me. Dog dies on the spot. The collar around my neck has snapped. Okay. And now, oh, there's your cute little dog, Ginny. I don't want to disturb Bertha, but okay. Now this next one is called Chaos, and I wrote this in Madrid while I was recording a jazz album, and so this was the free jazz, a quartet in Madrid under the production of a jazz musician, and I simply call it Chaos, and it goes really quick. I took some time in G minor 6 to 8 time, bass anchor to stono piano and trumpet. Vocals drive it out front. Those were my liner notes. It's called Chaos. All this chicken little shit do drop from the breaking sky, cloud burst 9 o'clock high, and I ain't had time to suck down morning or a second cup of coffee. So I pin a cigarette behind my ear, clip a leash to the dog, slip down along the stairs, slide out the door, hitting the street. We head right for the corner. Me for the park. Make for the park. Heads down low. Me in the mutt. Aimless we amble. Birds of a feather. Eyes to the dirt. Worms in the hole. Sun out of sight. Mind in a fix. Not yet quite on speaking terms with myself. I just let out a whistle in wonder. And oh shit, my dog is barking. Needless to say, it wasn't a long recorded piece. Okay. Well, thank you for listening to my work. And I want to thank you all for listening to your work. And if anyone has any closing statements, now's the time to say them. Okay. Well, silence is golden. Hey.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, okay. And as I say, I will try to write a somewhat of a summary of what we've done tonight. And I repeat, with all the dynamics and complexities of what's come out of our verse tonight, I can just give it a rough take, short of how complex it really was in sum and total. And then affix a song to it that I think bears some resonance to what we did. So I'll be doing that, and I tag you all, and I thank you all, and I think everybody thank everybody. So everybody thank everybody. Okay. And